to my living room. This is why I do.
This is why I do.
Where we ask Whitesperts the burning questions, not of the community, but the burning questions of Marcus and I, trying to figure out why the fuck they do that.
Because we need to know.
We need to know.
We need to know. We got to know.
And because we need to know, you need to know. So, without further ado, we're going to bring out our first Whitespert for today. Actually, he's the only Whitespert for today. Let's bring him out.
My name's Charles. I'm from Connersville, Indiana. I'm a personal trainer. I've been in DC for about 12 years, and I am today's expert white person.
Can I call you Chuck? No, I'm kidding.
Off limits.
Has anyone ever called you that?
People back home all do, man. I hate it.
Okay. All right. Well, anyway, Charles. Gotta say the whole thing. It's like a Tribe Called Quest. Why do y'all care so fucking much about Game of Thrones?
I mean, everybody loves a good story. Game of Thrones is just a good story. I mean, it's great fantasy. It's just kind of out there. I don't know, it's all over the place. But there are some like racial undertones there. I mean, they basically recreated kind of what we have now. Like you have Westeros, exactly, and then you go across the narrow sea to this land where you have more brown and black people, but it's all like kind of tribal and it's chaotic. Whereas you go over to Westeros and it's all stable and it's there's some weird shit going on there for sure.
So there are black people in Game of Thrones?
Yes, there are. There are like
I guess the Dothraki kind of.
I mean, the Dothraki. Okay, so I do have a working understanding of Game of Thrones. I've watched it a couple times. I've gone to a couple of watch parties. I enjoyed it, but I enjoyed it, I think, for much less different reasons. However, I do note that I counted 2 black people. Grey Worm, who doesn't have his got his dick chopped off. And then
So wait. They killed the light-skinned black chick and they fucking made my man into a eunuch?
Well, he was already a eunuch before he joined the military.
Because he was a slave.
But
I knew his head was going to explode on that.
I know, this is never going to go well. But
apparently all the black people on Game of Thrones are from some like island or some place that's like
far away.
You don't ever see. It's like
it's the retelling of America, if only if it were medieval.
So,
have you ever seen what R.R. Martin looks like?
Have you ever seen what?
George R.R. Martin. He's the writer,
the creator.
He created the book, A Song of Ice and Fire, which is what Game of Thrones is based off on.
Just a big fat old white dude.
Yeah, with like a fisherman's cap.
Yeah,
with a fisherman's cap. The thing is
he American?
I think so.
Yeah,
but the thing is, he hasn't even finished it. He hasn't finished the book. The show actually caught up to the book and then made their own ending because he could not write the book fast.
So actually, a lot of the stuff you're complaining about that was not what he wrote. He had a story in place, and then the writers at HBO just took over and just butchered the story.
So you're really mad at HBO show executives?
Yeah.
And George R.R. Martin by just association.
Yeah, he set the foundation of the framework.
He made the mold.
Yeah.
This is going to be about. We're going to have the Scots in the north. We're going to have Italians, like basically all different types of.
He took like Europe and Africa and just went like that.
Yes, exactly what he did.
And that was
he
the map.
Literally did like this.
Engine forgot it, because if we're talking about medieval period, right? Spain was like the Iberian Peninsula was entirely controlled by non-white people up until 1400, and then that's when they started like Castilian grew and then Catholicism. Basically, though, like Shakespeare could only write Othello about the Moors because there were Moors all through fucking Europe. Like there weren't a lot of them, but there was definitely more than one slave and one random light-skinned priest. I don't know what the fuck she did. I don't remember because this had to be like 2013 or something, and I'm like looking at this shit. I'm just like literally, like I'm watching it. I'm like, all right, bet. Like I shit you not. I swear, in the same episode, like she showed her tits, and then they killed her, and I was like, the fuck? Not exactly like in that like back to back.
But Game of Thrones is primarily tits and dragons.
Yeah.
In fights, in like massive wars in the dark. So
I think the show also focused on a lot. He basically tried to like kind of recreate like Northern Europe all the way down through the
I got that
Mediterranean.
vibe too.
And the whole first several seasons only takes place up in the north.
Yep.
So I guess maybe that's why you get only white people. Well, I don't know.
And the wildlings.
The wildlings.
Yeah. And they make fun of gingers.
Yeah, that's true.
Are the wildlings the gingers?
There's a couple of them.
There's a couple of them.
No, I'm asking, what are the
They live north of the wall.
There's a massive wall of ice that blocks pretty much all the rest of like the world from
like
the unknown.
The undead and the unknown, but there are people that still live up there among them, and they're just like, they're wild.
They look at them as
They call them
savages.
wildlings.
So it's like it would be the correlation of
crazy
how
redheaded
pilgrims look at
barbarians
Native
and shit.
Americans.
So he also just
Well-
randomly threw in the fucking Qin dynasty and was like, oh yeah, we want to protect ourselves.
Well,
against
think of it like you got
the Mongolians.
like no, think of it like Roman Republic, and then you get up north, and all of a sudden you have like you get into Gaul,
Yep.
and you have all the
Germania.
Celts, and you have the Germanic tribes, and they're viewed as barbarians, and they're scary.
Yeah, but it's all like based on perspective. So their perspective is like, these motherfuckers different.
Yes.
Yeah.
So because they different, they bad.
Because they live outdoors.
Yeah,
And they live.
So this is so
they're
you guys.
untamed,
And they
they're
live beyond the
scary,
wall.
So essentially when you started this. Okay. So how many like people who watch Game of Thrones you think voted for Donald Trump?
Probably a good percentage. I don't know.
I can't even draw up a number.
There's all kinds of people that love Game of
No,
Thrones.
I
The
get
funny
that.
things people always want to say like, what house are you? And I'm like,
Yeah,
I'm
exactly.
a wildling. I don't have a
Yeah,
house.
well,
Look at me.
I go where the house is.
Yeah.
I mean, I was just throwing that out because like the way it just. All right, like I hear y'all, and what the show's like 10 seasons.
Yes.
Is that right?
It's
Or
about
eight,
10
I think it's
eight to 10,
something
I
like
think.
that. Yeah. The best description of Game of Thrones in terms of the story is I saw a picture somebody drew of like this beautiful horse, right? And it's just like all the muscles and the hair and everything else, and then it gets to the front of the horse and it's just like a couple like lines, and that's how they finished it.
That's exactly how they
And
finish.
that's basically the show.
All right, so I guess the question is, has our Whitespert made me interested or care about Game of Thrones? So I'm just gonna throw this into the same bag that I throw Tekashi 6ix9ine's whole career.
Oh no.
I mean, I've only accidentally listened to one of his songs. I only happened to see an episode of Game of Thrones because I was at somebody else's house. Mind you, when I watched it, saw it, I was like in China, and they just happened to be like, "Oh, we're about to go do this thing, but I'm gonna watch this first."
If
So-
you watch it from the very beginning, what makes Game of Thrones good, if you watch from the very beginning, it's basically a story about a constant, never-ending power struggle, and the shock value of the show is what keeps people watching because
What the fuck do I need to watch that for? All I gotta do is turn on CNN
That's
and
true.
Fox News and watch, or go on Twitter and see old Orange Face who lives literally down the street from me talking about, "Hey,
Or
bruh,
if you want
flex
to
if you want. I got these bombs for that ass, $1 trillion worth of them."
Or if you want to get the same drama and then pretend like it doesn't really exist in the world, you can just pop on Game of Thrones.
Game of Thrones. There you go.
And then
But it literally
ignorance is
is-
bliss, right?
Yeah, it is ignorance.
I think that's basically why people get into the show. Ignorance is bliss. Like, oh look, it's this, good thing this isn't real. Oh yeah.
Yeah, right. There's no dragons out there.
Other than that, they still have the same bullshit.
Yeah, the same power struggles, the same backstabbing, deceit, all that.
So you're gonna watch all 8 seasons now, right?
Yo,
I guess I didn't do a good job.
nah, man. Hey. All right, so Charles, we appreciate you being the middleman, both literally, figuratively. I have a question. My question is, with all that's going on today, with the ASPCA and things like that, you notice that animal rights has gone up within the last 5 years or so. I mean, everyone's been debating about whether or not Michael Vick should be the coach for the Super Bowl team or even allowed in the Super Bowl.
Pro Bowl.
Pro Bowl, thank you. Because of what happened in the past. Personally, he's paid his dues. He's done a lot of.
He literally went to
He
jail.
went to jail. He did his dues.
Federal prison.
He paid his debt to society and also advocates for dogs. Why do white people love cats and dogs more than humans? Like, what's up with that?
That's a good question. I think that I don't know. I think like white people and white culture in general have always had an affinity for, having pets. Sometimes too many pets, and I think that it comes down to selfishness in a lot of ways. Like I know for me, and we've talked about this with my dog. My dog's had a lot of health issues. I've spent a lot of money on my dog, and I just out of selfishness, really. I care more about him than a lot of strangers I don't know, as bad as that is. And I think a lot of people share that. I don't know if that's necessarily a white or a black thing, but I think that I just think once again you have a lot of white people just have, like I said, sometimes too many pets, and it's what makes you happy, and you're gonna do whatever you can to protect that. And then if you see something on TV that shows some poor animal with a sad song in the background, that pulls on your heartstrings more than some stranger that you don't know. You know what I mean?
I feel you, and I agree. I really want to say it does transcend race, but there are certain aspects that I noticed that, like, if we're growing up, we have a dog, and we took him out. If we didn't feel like walking him, we just let him loose in the backyard, let him do his business and come back. Or if we go on a vacation, we tie him to a stake and tell him to pace himself. Did you do that to your dog?
We had a backyard. We just let him run around in, and then if we'd leave for a period of time, if it was too long, if it was a road trip, we just take him. If it wasn't, if it was only a couple days, we just leave him in the house, have a neighbor come over and let him out.
Interesting.
Bring him back in.
Well, I have one more part to this question.
You said you told the dog to pace himself?
I did catch that too.
Wait, like you just put 5 days worth of food and like, hey, bro, this is Mondays, this is Tuesdays. Don't fuck it up.
Essentially, but because you can't trust your neighbors. But the question, this is the two-part question. This is where it gets a little trickier. So thank you for hanging in there. Lightning round, Shazam! The thing is, why is it that, and I see this primarily, why is it that white people like to take their dogs grocery shopping, especially if they can't bring the dogs in the grocery store? I see so many dogs tied up in front of Trader Joe's, Mom's, Whole Foods. I never see them at Safeway, Giant, or Shoppers, but respectively, these organic brands have a lot of stray dogs just tied up to either a...
Well, not stray.
Well, they're not stray, yeah, you're right. They're
always rescue.
All those rescue. Oh, yeah. Rescue dogs is a whole new thing.
Yeah.
But is there any way you could shed light on that? Like, what's up with that? If you knew you were going grocery shopping, why are you taking the fucking dog?
I think there's a couple things with that. I think that it's laziness. You don't want to walk to the grocery store, get your groceries, go back, then come back, let the dog out. Take the dog for a walk.
Or tell him to pace himself.
Or tell him to pace himself, right? So people are like, oh, well, screw it. I'll just walk him down to the grocery store, tie him up, go inside. And the other thing, I also think it's kind of like a, I don't know how else to say this, but it's like, you ever met somebody that's like trying really hard to pull off a look? You know what I mean? Like, oh, I live in this dog-friendly neighborhood, and I'm going to shop organic, and I'm going to wear my, my button-up flannel, and I'm going to take my dog down to the grocery store and tie him up outside and go and get my locally farm-grown shit, and I'm going to walk on with bozo.
So you're saying not only is the dog more like
the dog's a victim of laziness and trying to fit a look.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So the dog is not only something that you care about more than your fellow human.
It's a prop.
But it's also a prop. So it's like basically a prop for your attention.
The most meaningful accessory known to man.
The other thing is, and I mean this is just guys in general, dogs are chick magnets. So the more often you have it with you, more opportunity.
Good to know.
Have you ever taken your dog on an airplane? I'm just curious.
Yeah.
No, but the last plane I took coming back home from Indiana, there was this dude on the plane with me with the dog, like some ex-military guy. So it was like a service dog, I guess.
It had to be, yeah.
I was curious more.
The dog sat in the seat next to him, just like a person. Like, I mean,
they didn't do anything.
No,
it was people.
I mean, at one point, out of the corner of my eye, I thought the thing was sitting there reading a magazine. Calm as could be.
The dog just sat there.
Just sat there.
Well, yes, I mean, service dogs, I feel like you could be like, yo, pace yourself. And they'll be like, bet. But like,
yeah, service dogs make me.
But like the dogs are
like
living in the person.
Yeah. Yeah, they've been put in their place early on.
Goodness gracious.
My dog has no idea, man. Like he thinks he's a person. I'm totally a victim of that. I think that's also like a white person thing. Like let your dog get away with bloody murder, let him sleep in the bed, let him boss you around. You know. If aliens like landed and looked at, my neighborhood. I'm in a very dog-friendly white neighborhood. Man, they think the dogs rule the planet, not humans. Feed them, walk around after them, pick up their shit.
Okay, but that's one thing too. Like I've peeped, right? So like, anytime I've seen like a neighborhood, again, you know, like living in DC, like I know white people are going to move into that neighborhood if they didn't previously live there. When I started seeing signs that say like clean up after your dog.
Yeah.
But I've also noticed I only see like shit just left outside. Like I've never seen a black person literally pick up dog shit. Like I've never seen. Well, I've seen my brother do it, but that's different. And he also lives around a bunch of white people in those neighborhoods where you get fined if you get caught. So,
big no-no in my neighborhood. You can't leave dog shit out, man.
Yeah, you can't. It's like you can't leave the dog shit out.
You should see.
You get ostracized by like.
But then also you walk around a black neighborhood, you never just see dog shit. So like, how come you guys have to pick up your dog shit, but at the same time like we just tell our dogs to pace themselves and they just like know to hide their shit? Like, I don't know. This question doesn't make sense.
Once again, just trying to humanize them, I guess. I mean, I don't know. That's a weird one.
I don't know.
I feel like that was a question that was quelled.
So at this point, Marcus.
Yes.
After hearing that, do you think?
Do I understand it more?
Has Charles convinced you to view the treatment of dogs? Because we didn't really get into cats,
and
but
to pick up their shit.
Yeah, I don't want to touch cats. That's a whole nother thing. You know,
Yeah,
that's a whole
that's
like culture behind it. You know.
Yeah.
But since the movie
like
Cats bombed,
I mean,
we
yeah.
but here's
Well,
the
musical hasn't.
but here's the thing. Since Cats bombed, we can 100% confirm people don't fuck with cats.
we can't confirm that.
I know too many like cat ladies.
Yo, I know cat ladies, cat mans. I've been a cat dad myself.
Cat dad?
Listen, I don't want to talk about it.
Wait, cat dad?
I don't want to talk about it.
There's a story here.
There's a story.
No, not even just that. It's just funny because you
got the
were.
cat.
Oh my God,
they
Charles.
broke up, moved out, mixed up with the cat.
No, well, thank goodness.
Why is it? I never see white people doing this. Why is it? I'll be walking down the street. I'll be driving down the street, and I'll see a black guy or a black girl walking down the street, just rapping to herself, or just like getting really into it, whether they have the headphones on or not. Like people around don't even care, just in their own world, just like getting after it.
Ooh.
You know what I mean? You've seen that.
Oh yeah, I've been there.
I'll say I do that shit.
All the time. You know what?
Like me, if I had headphones in and I'm like singing along with something, all of a sudden I look around, people, I'm like, oh, you know, I'm like, oh man, like hope nobody heard me. I'm all nervous now. Now I'm embarrassed. that does not exist from what I've seen.
I mean, it's.
All right. Well, so here's what I mean. My take is right. The moment I put my headphones on, especially like I don't like buds. So, cause I like to like enclose my ears and like trap all the sound in. So now I have created an immersive experience for myself. And if I really fucks with a song and really fucks with that artist, man, then I'll be jamming. Like I don't give a fuck about y'all. Like we could be sitting this goddamn close on the metro and I don't know you. I don't care. Like this is like I have let the whole world know by having large headphones on that I don't care about what the fuck. Like I don't care about oncoming traffic. I don't care about people around me. Only thing I care about is the immersive experience I have just.
Maybe that's why so many pedestrians get slammed into by cars in the distance.
Yeah, but here's the thing. You notice that shit only happens to y'all.
That's true. That's a good point.
So like y'all be walking, because you know what?
Right.
I can answer that one too. How come black people, even though we're having full immersive experiences in public, don't get hit by cars? It's because the experience of being black I call it Babylon, basically just being in a colonized nation where we're just viewed as like this annoying other group. So we're hyper aware of our surroundings, so we'll fully immerse ourselves, be in the music, be in the moment, blah, 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 not giving a fuck. But it's like we're also like still clocking everything that's happening. So just because you think like you notice like motherfuckers will be rapping, da-da-da, eyes wide the fuck open. Like we see everything. White people, when they cross the street, I know this shit when I'm driving through the city, they be on their phone, they just not be paying attention. And then they also, like, when they almost get hit, if they don't get hit, they almost get hit, they're like, look at you, like, how dare you violate my bubble? You know what it is? Because, like, subconsciously, y'all don't realize it, but y'all really think that white privilege will just protect you in all situations. Because in America, white privilege protects you in most situations. So I feel it. Like, whereas we know we're never protected. We don't even get to call people to protect us. So we know what's going on. We just have come up. It's kind of like a coping mechanism. We're just like, fuck it, man. We just be out here living our lives. We could die at any time anyway, so might as well have fun. Exactly. So, you know, when I'm listening to motherfucking I Am a God by Kanye West, like, I feel that shit.
All right.
And, you know, it is what it is.
Well, I like jazz music.
Okay, Miles fucking Davis.
So most times, you'll probably see me just, like, you would physically see me walking down the street as if I'm Bill Evans or if I'm Paul Chambers or something. Just, yeah, like...
I've actually seen him do that shit.
Like, who the fuck is this guy playing the stand upright? It's the upright bass, motherfucker.
No.
He's killing that imaginary bass.
Exactly, but you know what? It just, I don't know. It's like, for me...
Turn a go-go around, Marcus.
Oh,
This motherfucker.
yeah, I'm gonna start dancing. You know, I play the roll of times. I don't, but I do now. But for me, when I'm in that trance, that's a trance-like state where you're still cosmically aware, but at the same time, it just makes you feel more connected to that song. You ever see Life, the movie with Eddie Murphy and then Martin?
Oh, yeah.
All right, so you remember when they're in that scene in which they're all dreaming at the same time, like, hey, Ray, where I'm at? He's like, man, you know you on the crap table cooking? He's like, man, lucky 7. And he's like, man, this dream's settled. And then Martin Lawrence ruins it for everybody. They're like, boy, shut the hell up. And then he turns into a waiter in the dream. It's like it's like a dream state for me. I imagine that I'm actually there. I'm actually playing that music. I'm so connected to the music. It takes me somewhere else, even for a brief moment of time.
And also,
Fair enough. Underrated movie, by the way.
And I would encapsulate this whole thing by also pointing out that the history of black music is danceable music, whereas the history of white music, or classical music as it's called in Babylon, and
danceable music
is not it's not danceable. Like, here's the thing,
bad dance.
I appreciate like listening to like Mozart and Beethoven and things like that, and you know Rodin, all the motherfuckers. Rodin is not a musician; he makes sculptures. So sue me, put it in the comments. White people, but anyway, European music, right? So with that whole notion of like music is something to spectate at, whereas within black culture, music is participatory. Yeah, so even if we've got our headphones on, it's still supposed to be a participatory experience. Like, I have had white people argue with me about, like, I'll be like, what's the best song ever created? Not your favorite song, but the best song. And like 9 times out of 10 in my life, motherfuckers want to bring up like Queen's Bohemian Rhapsody. And in the words of Ronnie Chang, it is a completely undanceable song. I'm not saying it's a bad song. It's just that no one has ever turned on a Queen song and immediately, other than Freddie Mercury, and had an immersive experience with that music. It's a fun song to sing along with. However, it's more like, let's all sing the different parts of Bohemian Rhapsody, right? But it's not like it doesn't activate your joints and your muscles to start spasming and react.
I feel like it's more of a choir piece.
Yeah, again, it's music to be...
Well, spectator music, like you said.
Yeah, it's like European music, the opera and all that. It's, we sit here and we watch it. And that's why I don't understand fucking Hamilton. That's a whole nother episode. Yeah, but again,
at least 2 hours.
Yes, but with that, you know, it's one of those things. So maybe I think that's just it. Our music, whether it's jazz, whether we're listening to more of the fundamental roots of what was called in its day race music, which is the foundations for rock and roll, all of that for us, it's a very like we make music to express ourselves. Like, people who make music are using it to express and convey feelings. Us as the audience feel what they're talking about, and since we're feeling it, it's just our natural reactions to demonstrate our feelings. And when you go to the African continent and you watch people play music, whether it's on the drums or other instruments of origin from that continent, and whether it's string instruments, all that, you recognize that, hey, it's not just motherfuckers watching music, it's a circle, the instruments are the centerpiece, and then within the circle, people are moving, and then it's everybody, and oftentimes you see in a lot of cultures, everyone that gets a turn to get up and demonstrate, this is how my spirit reacts, and the crowd cheers them on, and then they pull back, and then the next person gets a turn, and then you see the same thing with breakdancing, you see the same thing when you in DC and Bama's be rocking off, you see the same thing, you go to the UK, motherfuckers be cutting shapes, it's the same shit. Like, we make music to feel something, to release something, to participate.
Well, that's a great description. Spectator music as opposed to participatory music. I guess speaking to that, it totally makes sense. I've been to several weddings in my life, right?
Mm-hmm.
Usually you go to a wedding, they got like, they'll have a band up there, and a couple people get out there and dance, but most people just sit at the table and kind of enjoy their food, talk, drink, whatever.
I'm gonna agree. I've only been to one wedding.
My best friend got married. He had a traditional Nigerian wedding, and when the music got going, we were all expected to participate. You don't just sit around. You know what I mean? Everybody gets involved. It was rude to sit down. You know what I mean? Like you're supposed to stand up, be involved. The whole thing's much more interactive.
Just think about your knees already, bro. It's a lot of like those moves.
It was a good time. It was a good time.
That's a lot of
Dry wedding though, that part sucks. Sneak out to the parking lot.
Oh, they're Muslims. They're House of people.
No, I think it was his father-in-law is a preacher.
Oh,
so
okay. Well, yeah, that makes sense too.
No booze at the wedding.
No
No
booze.
parking lot.
What?
Parking lot, there's plenty of booze.
Yeah, that parking lot's always weird.
Yeah.
Somebody's on.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah, I mean that's how usually like traditional black gatherings go. Like there's always, hey Marcus, you trying to take a walk real quick?
Yep.
Got you, fam.
I got you. And that walk turns into a whole nother fucking.
Come back from the walk. Your aunts be like, where we all?
But the question,
we just took a walk and then we loud as shit.
well, Charles, do you feel that we adequately answered your question?
Yeah, kind of a goofy question, not an entirely serious question.
No,
but the answer makes total sense.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for being our.
Definitely do have a much better. Now when I see that, I'm just gonna be like, all right, I got you. I might, throw a couple moves next to him, let him know I'm feeling it too. Probably not.
I mean, if you can hear it and you like it, why not? But here's
What I'll do is when I listen to my country music walking down the street, I'll just start singing along really loud.
Please do. And then strum guitar. At the same time.
I mean, the worst thing that's gonna happen is honestly, cause I've never seen I think most people, especially on the metro or something, like you don't really see like white people respond in that way. I think it's also why like you have so many like white people who study not like who are ethnomusicologists, because they'll just sit there and like study music.
Mm-hmm.
And like my thesis was on like rap music and stuff, but still like even with that, like there would be parts there while I'm doing my research where it's like, yeah, like I'm hearing this shit, but like while I'm like writing, I'm still like writing and like yeah. And like I've been like I had to deal with ethnomusicologists and they'd be like, yes, did you hear the way he inflected his voice just at the fifth quarter note? And I'm like, you mean how that motherfucker like was changing his voice based on the beat? Yes. And then I'm just like, man, shut the fuck up. Like appreciate and that's just one like even and it's wild. Like I went to the international like hip hop research conference at Cambridge, and motherfuckers really wanted to like try like they were talking about breakdancing, and it was just like the way they spoke about it. I was like, yo, there's no passion here. There's just straight like
analyzing it.
And it's like, and then you watch the people do it, and I'm like in your mind, I'm like, I feel like you like I'm not saying mimicking moves, but what I mean is like there was a lot of like emphasis on technical proficiency within breakdancing
as opposed to just feeling it and going.
Exactly. Like I don't think the first Puerto Rican motherfucker who spit on his head was like, yeah, like let me do a math problem. It was just like, yo, you hear this break, this shit crazy. Like, boy, show him what you got. Whip off! And he spit on his head. And just like, and motherfuckers was like, oh shit,
that's some new shit.
Exactly, that's some new shit. Like, yo, let me try. Just like fucking Rich Homie Quan, like, Rich Homie Quan just was dancing, and then some other motherfucker came behind him. I think his name's like I Love Memphis, and just decided like, yo, everybody dance like Rich Homie Quan. Hit the Quan. Again, Marcus, I know you don't fuck with the dance. I'm just saying like, but that's what happened. Like, somebody liked what he was doing, and then they just created it. Thanks, Charles, for being our Whitespert today.
Appreciate it.
There you go.
Hope I helped.
Definitely
gave you guys
a lot of things and
some decent white person information.
Thank you.
WPI, white person information. We appreciate you, Charles.